So my name is Nelly. I'm a psychologist and I create a lot of content on intimate relationships, and I give advice and tips and hints for women on how to date successfully, what kind of men to look for and what kind of men to avoid, what kind of early signs for unhealthy relationships look like, etc. I also do one-to-one consultations, so for those of you who are interested, you can message me on TikTok. Now, let's kick off the discussion. Obsessive men. You know, when I was thinking about a catchy title, I thought, and I basically decided to put this title, and the first association in my mind was about those men who become crazy fans of celebrities and stalk them everywhere, and they become completely crazy about them, even though they had no real contact, no personal contact with them. They were just watching their performance, if they're singers or artists or whatever, and they become completely crazy and stalk them and message them. And there are some men who become obsessive when it comes to their partners, and that obsession is not anything healthy. First of all, secondly, it could become actually very dangerous. Actually, how this obsession look like in normal intimate relationships when a woman starts dating a man and he becomes obsessive. What are the behavioral patterns or reactions that would tell a woman, okay, this guy is getting obsessed by me, or he's getting quickly attached and very controlling. So all these are very key words, because obsession normally means control. It has nothing to do with love, although I think some ladies tend to, especially younger ladies, I would say, who maybe don't have much experience and they haven't gone through a lot of relationships, or they just don't have an experience in that kind of with that kind of man. But obsessive men tend to get obsessed very early in the relationship. It's nothing romantic, as I said. It's actually a sign of excessive control. And these kind of men tend to see women as a property, as an object. They don't see their partners, the obsessive men, they don't see their partners as human beings that have free will and can decide if they want to be with him later or for a long time, if they want to be with him or if they want to terminate the relationship. For that kind of man, it's not a woman's decision. It's his decision. He decides whether to terminate the relationship or to keep it. The woman does not have a free will in his mind and in his mentality. He's just an object that he possesses, uses as per his will and demands or expectations. And the woman, for him, is not only an object. She's just a person. I mean, she's an object for him that must comply with all of his expectations and demands. If she says no, that normally provokes a lot of aggression, anger, and resentment. Because in his worldview, especially when it comes to women, obsessive men, they don't see women as having a free will. Simple as that. They have to comply fully and do whatever he wants. So Why some men become obsessive? There is also a cultural factor, because now when I was talking about this, actually, of course, I think about some, especially Muslim cultures, where women don't have so many rights. But I'm actually talking about situations where women live in not that kind of a restricting cultures. They don't have that kind of a cultural background where women are seen differently, are seen like less than the men, and they have to be fully not only compliant, but really to do whatever he says. So I'm not talking about that kind of women, because there is a strong cultural factor there. I talk about men who are not from that kind of a cultural background, but still become very easily obsessed by their partners. So why does this happen? I hinted just a moment ago that obsession and control are very much related. And actually behind obsession and the possessiveness of abusers lays actually an excessive need to control. These men are very and deeply insecure. They have attachment issues, abandonment issues, issues coming from their family of origin when they were kids. Distorted families where there was unhealthy relationships or violence. So their attachment style is very insecure, and that's due to some trauma that happened in their life when they were children, most of the times. Not always, but there is a tendency that abusive and obsessive men come from unhealthy families. They have weird relationship with their mothers, where the mother is also very narcissistic, very controlling, very needy, not letting him to, live his life and be an adult, etc. I've talked about this in my previous videos, so if you're interested, you can check them out. I've done quite excessive, I would say extensive analysis of abusive men and their unhealthy relationship with their mother. There is a strong correlation, actually. Now, so for obsessive and possessive men, no is not an answer. No can trigger a lot of anger, as I mentioned. And very early, the woman learns that she must be agreeable and conform to anything he wants or says or expects from her. Otherwise, there could be negative consequences for her. And I wanted to make this video because a lot of time there are some early signs of men being obsessive and having a kind of a abusive way to treat women. And a lot of women, as I said, or young ladies who don't have much experience with that, tend to ignore the signs. Either ignore them, or they romanticize them. They find them very romantic. Like, oh, if he's calling me all the time, he must be so much in love with me. From the second date, he tells me how much he's crazy about me, how much he likes me, how he cannot imagine his life without me. He is pouring so much attention on me, so much time he wants to spend with me all the time. So I even don't have time for my friends, for my family. He's just like, he wants to be all over the place and he wants to be with her all the time, especially at the very beginning. Normally, healthy relationships don't start off like this. They start off completely differently. They start off slow. They start off slow because at the initial stage of dating, one of the reasons of dating is to get to know the other person, to get to know him and her respectively, to see if there is a compatibility, and things flow and progress slowly. With obsessive and possessive men who are actually abusers, it's never slow. They want to capture the victim as soon as possible. And initially it's with, as I said, with this love bombing strategy, when they're promising the world to her, giving her so much attention and care and want to spend so much time with her and all that, which is absolutely manipulation. They show off, they show and demonstrate that they're so in love so early. It's like that woman is the most amazing woman he ever met in his life. He never met such an amazing woman. It's like a love from first sight and all this BS, you know. But some women fall for that, actually. And I agree, and I could understand that initially it's difficult to differentiate and be certain whether this man is abusive and can become obsessive or not, or he's just trying to impress you, or at the beginning men do that, and this attempts to impress the women and cater to them and take them to nice places, give them nice gifts and all that. That's not unhealthy, so this is really the thin line between a man who's really interested and he tries to impress you and do everything to show his strong interest in you, and men who are obsessive, who demonstrate and say how much they love you from the second date. And they don't give you another very important sign is that obsessive and abusive men, they don't give any space and freedom to their partner. Like initially that could be because he's so in love and he wants to spend all the time with her. Then he would just actually capture her and captivate her in a way that she would not even be allowed to meet other people, to meet friends, to have a contact with other people. And that's a very extreme case, but it happens more often than you think. When the man is not letting his partner to have her life in addition to the relationship, that's unhealthy, that's possessiveness, and that could lead, and in most cases lead to aggression and violence. Because the moment that he cut off her contact with other people, which is one of their strategy to completely possess her, then he would start the abuse, the violence in many cases, and she would not be even in a position to seek protection because she has been already isolated from her support system or support network, like friends, family, relatives, colleagues even. So she wouldn't even be willing to share what's going on. So that's very dangerous. Actually, obsessive men are the ones that are, I would say, the most dangerous men when it comes to intimate relationships. These are the men with the highest rate of femicides, killing women, femicides, and also, suicides, both. When there is this unhealthy possession, the risk for the woman is very high. So in the best thing that a woman can do if she sees these signs that I've been talking about is just to leave as soon as possible, because with the time passing, things become worse and worse. They don't tend to become better. Communication, talking about this, trying to find boundaries, trying to agree on some boundaries, and what the relationship should look like, what she can do and what she cannot do. This is non-existent when it comes to obsessive men. They don't understand that. They don't accept that. Communication is like comes from one ear and it goes from the other ear. Nothing stays actually in his mind. He doesn't care. He only cares to achieve his goal, to completely control the woman and do anything that he wants with her, regardless of whether she likes it or not, regardless whether she feels pain or not. That doesn't matter, because for that kind of man, obsessive man, the woman is an object. She looks like a human being, but in his mind, she's less than him. She doesn't have a free will. And that's why I say these men are the most dangerous men, because the moment that the woman decides to leave this kind of relationship, the risk for her being harmed further or even killed is very high. Because it's like, in his mind, it's like, okay, that's mine. This is my object. This is my possession. She doesn't have the right to leave. Who does she think she is to think that she could leave me? No, it's me who decides that. This is their mentality. And because in his mind, she's just his possession, he doesn't have the right to leave. And if she dares to leave, he will punish her. He will hurt her, punish her, and in some extreme cases, even kill her. It's very scary. But it happens more often than you guys think. Statistics are crazy. You can just Google it and see the rates of femicide in each country. Democratic countries as well, developed countries as well. It's very, the rate of women's killing is crazy high. So that's why it's so important to recognize the early signs of abuse and violence. And the early signs is this obsessive and possessive behavior. That, as I said, some women can mistake it as something very cute. Oh, he's so much into me. He likes me so much. Oh my God. That he's so crazy about me and I made him fall in love so easily. But that's just a game. That's not even true. That's just a game. It's emotional manipulation. As I said, compared to healthy relationships and healthy dating habits, the healthy ones are the process of dating is much lower, and there is no sense of pressure. So if the woman feels that she's really pressed to go to sleep with him when she doesn't feel that she's ready. And he constantly tries to pressure the relationship to go to the next level too soon and too quick. That's one of the best telling factors that something is smelly. It's a red flag. And I would say, for the ladies, don't wait until you prove that I was right. Just when you see these things, better run. Because later on becomes a lot more complicated and dangerous, actually. Right. So that's about possessive and obsessive men. I mean, we can go very deep into this analysis of their psychology, their behavior, etc. But as a high level information, and I think summarize most important information, these are the main things that ladies should be aware of and be vigilant. So if you know about this and if you see it, just cut off this contact with that kind of man as soon as possible, before it becomes too late. And there's so many amazing men out there, so I'm sure he's not the only one.